News Talk 610 AM and 102.1 FM. KBNU.
KBNU News Time is 4:05. I'm Bill Walter with this news update brought to you by Northern Steel Building. A 20-year-old Logan man has pleaded guilty to having a sexual relationship with a 15-year-old girl and dealing drugs. Thaddeus Andrew Bell is currently in the Cache County Jail being held without bail. Bell participated in a pretrial conference Wednesday morning in First District Court. He pleaded guilty to an amended charge of forcible sexual abuse, a second-degree felony, and attempted distribution of a controlled substance, a Class A misdemeanor. Bell was arrested after a woman reported being raped to Logan City police officers. The girl said she had been in a relationship with him previously. Police interviewed Bell at the time. He admitted to having sex with the juvenile victim repeatedly from May 2021 to October of that year. He said he knew it was wrong, but felt like something was missing in his life. Judge Brian Cannell ordered Bell to remain in jail and appear again January 18th for sentencing. The crimes carry a maximum sentence of up to 15 years in prison. KBNU News Time is 4:06. KBNU weather for tonight, mostly clear, hazy conditions, low 15 to 20. Sunny and hazy around 40 degrees tomorrow. Wednesday, a slight chance of snow in the morning, mostly cloudy around 40. Thursday, Thanksgiving, partly cloudy in the morning, then clearing, high temperature in the upper 30s. It is 40 degrees right now at KBNU. KBNU weather brought to you by Logan Extermination. They will hang your Christmas lights for you and do it quickly and affordably. Give them a call at 435-752-8450.
We might all agree that a vacation to Vegas is good, but Hawaii is better. Same thing when you're building. Wood is good, but metal is better. If you're considering a new building for your farm or business, let Northern Steel Building show you the benefits of metal. Metal is stronger with little or no maintenance, and it doesn't burn. Find out how affordable a metal building really is by visiting northernsteelbuilding.com. That's northernsteelbuilding.com or call 435-677-7300.
KBNU News Time is 4:07. USU professor Charles Swenson arrived at Kennedy Space Center in Florida Sunday to witness the expected launch Monday evening tonight of a SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket taking a satellite developed by USU and its collaborators into space. The joint U.S.-Brazil satellite will eventually be deployed from the International Space Station with instruments developed by USU to investigate plasma bubbles developing in the ionosphere that can interfere with GPS devices over the equator.
Think about air, which is clear, and water, which is clear, and you can see through both. But if you blow air through some water, like in a swimming pool, and you're trying to see down to the bottom, once you have a whole bunch of bubbles, you can't see anymore. And that's exactly what goes on with the ionosphere. The ionosphere is transparent to radio waves mostly, and the air is transparent to radio waves. And when we start to blow bubbles, if you will, through the ionosphere, these bubbles become opaque and the radio waves can't get through.
Dr. Swenson said the national leaders in space are anxious to do more joint space missions in South America, suggested working with Brazilian leaders. Swenson said it has been more about international relations than about science.
And what came out of it is, well, why don't we put together a small satellite called a CubeSat? Brazil will build the CubeSat. The United States will provide the various instruments for measuring the space weather effects, and thus was born the Sport mission. But it's taken years to work through the various agreements at the international level to allow this to happen, and it's been a fantastic diplomacy activity.
He said SPORT stands for Scintillation Prediction Observation Research Task. The mission will measure the state of the ionosphere, which lies 50 to 600 miles above the Earth's surface, to determine why plasma bubbles sometimes form there. And a man is in critical condition with major burns to his body after an explosion inside a shipping container. Saturday around 10 a.m., police received a call reporting an explosion in the far southwest corner of Utah County. The Utah County Sheriff's Office said there were several different flammable fuels in the shipping container located on private property. The victim apparently walked in and lit a propane heater on the far side of the container, then walked back toward the entrance. The vapors inside then ignited and exploded right as he reached the edge of the container. KBNU News Time is 4:10. For more details on these and other stories, visit CashValleyDaily.com.
News Talk KVNU, 610 AM and 102.1 FM.
Hi, I'm Celeste Edmonds, Executive Director of the Christmas Box House. When I was a foster child, Christmas felt like something that was for everyone but me. Christmas should be for all children. The Christmas Box is working with the Utah community to provide Christmas for nearly 2,800 at-risk children. To learn how you can help today, please contact us at thechristmasbox.org or Google us. Thank you and happy holidays.
Hi, this is Ashley from LSS Insurance. Are you getting 3 or more calls a day about Medicare? Telemarketers that offer an amazing Medicare benefit? That amazing offer may be available if you live in Florida or Arizona. At LSS Insurance, we offer the right plans for our area, and I guarantee you will get better benefits at a lower cost. It's time to enroll or change your Medicare plan. Call LSS Insurance at 752-9493 or go to lssins.com or come to our free third Thursday meeting.
For the people.
We are waiting with bated breath for news from the Cash Republican Party meeting an executive committee tonight.
With Jason Williams.
And I'm really excited about this next segment. We have 2 guests here in studio. We're going to talk about something that we've talked about many times here on the show, but from a bit of a different angle.
Weekday afternoons from 4 till 6 on News Talk KVNU, 610 AM and 102 FM.
Welcome to KVNU's For the People. It is Monday, November 21st, 4:13 in the afternoon. A little, it's so relative, right? But a little warm out there today-ish.
It's 39.
I know. And tomorrow, maybe 40? Maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's...
balmy.
I took that puffy coat off and swapped it for the puffy vest for a minute, and then I put the coat back on. Enjoy it. Winter is coming. Also, I've been kind of neglecting this year, a show tradition. I haven't been counting down the days to the shortest day of the year, which means the next day we start building back up to the longest day of the year. But that's only weeks away. So we've got a lot to talk about today. Some Black Friday shenanigans are already in the news. We'll run through some headlines with smooth jazz later on in the show. And, of course, talk a little bit about the latest out of tragedies in Colorado and some Utah ties to that, and also answer some listener questions on what we know so far on the investigation into the murders in Moscow, Idaho at the University of, I'll say this now. There is not a lot of news, but we had a lot of listeners asking about something they'd heard this morning. So we'll do a little myth busting. Don't believe what you read on Facebook, even if it's a link to an actual website. This, unfortunately, is going around the valley, and it is not something confirmed by those investigating those murders in Moscow, Idaho. So we'll spell that out for you in hour 2 of today's show. We're kicking things off here with a very special guest in the studio. Joining us right now to speak for North Logan City, it is our Speak to the Mayor segment with North Logan City Mayor Lindsay Peterson. And Mayor Peterson, appreciate you joining us again. I know that we ask a lot of your time to come in and do these segments, but there is a lot going on. And I have a starter for us today. This actually came from a listener I had talked on the show a few days ago about the corridor, as I call it, through North Logan there. It's one of the greatest things that I think has ever happened to the north end of the valley. It is so nice to be able to shoot along there if you're headed to certain destinations and avoid Main Street. A listener wanted to know if there are plans for similar things east and west in North Logan City, but there are, if I'm recalling correctly, there are some pretty decent east and west corridors already, right?
So, sorry, taking you from east to west?
Yeah,
okay.
They wanted to know if there are plans to take. Well, actually, specifically, they want to know if any of those roads that are already expanded a bit are going to be expanding all the way up or all the way.
Yeah. So in our master plan, our road master plan, so 25th ultimately will go all the way to the bench, 2500 north, and then that connects all the way to Benson on the east side, west side. And so 3100's about as long as it can be right now. And then there's some that are going to be pushing through. So 12th East, that's a north to south one, but 12th East will ultimately push through. Right now it dead ends just before it gets to 2500 north, but long term that's going to go all the way through Hyde Park.
Oh, wow.
And then people have probably noticed, but that Wolfpack Way that will eventually become Bobcat Way, that will push through all the way from Smithfield to, the south end of the valley too. So
that's going to be nice.
There are a lot of roads that ultimately will be pushed through. There's a roundabout scheduled for 16th, and right in that corner as it goes from North Logan to Hyde Park, there's a lot of development going on right there. So, yeah, and I'm routinely in meetings where we're trying to anticipate that traffic flow in the long term. So we're talking about it for sure.
Easier said than done, right?
It is, yeah. There's no perfect solution, unfortunately.
No, that's. I appreciate the update on that, and a great question from a listener. But I'm excited at the traffic flow through that area, how much it's improved, and but that's interesting because that does mean North Logan's taking on some of the putting on the city's shoulders some of the burden of the valley's traffic, right? So the idea is that you also get people to stop and spend some money.
Yeah, ideally.
Contribute some tax revenue, right?
Yeah.
And there are a lot of options in the works and already in place for that already. How goes the master plan on that? I mean, the growth has just thrown everything kind of up in the air.
Yeah.
Right? No one is really sure where things are going to land. But you have to plan as if you know, right?
That's right. Yeah. Well, I think that a big part of our master plan is just preserving that what we anticipate will be the city center of North Logan. That's more off of 2nd East and that big chunk of land that currently doesn't have anything on it. I don't know if you know where I'm talking about. Between 2nd East and 4th East.
Okay.
There's just a big tract of land that the city owns. Originally, we were going to put the library there, but
that's right.
Then we put it next to the existing library and a community center. So that there's an opportunity there. We have a few areas in North Logan that we're trying to preserve the space itself, but as far as the actual, what's going in there, it just takes time. It takes time to kind of figure that out, but it's certainly on the minds of, I know, city council people right now, and definitely for me. So we don't have that solidified, but we do have that long-term perspective when we're planning roads and when we're making decisions. The planning commission's making a decision as to what goes where. There's going to be the animal hospital that's coming in. So,
wow.
So we have a lot of things in the works, but nothing I can really tell you is a solidified plan.
That's most cities in that situation, right? Where things are on the radar, but they out of necessity have to remain somewhat fluid, right? Mm-hmm. Have there been any surprises as far as growth in North Logan, or has it been happening kind of where everyone assumed it would happen?
I think that there aren't necessarily surprises, although I think that that's kind of a tricky word. But we do have a development that's going in right next to the library right now, the Smiling H subdivision on 2500 North, on both sides of 2500 North. There have been a few developments like that, they've been zoned that since the 1960s. They've been kind of higher density zoned, but have been used as agricultural land for decades. And so I think that can kind of take people off guard and feel like we're losing the feel that we have as a city. But realistically speaking, did we know that was perhaps an inevitability? Yeah. Sure. Yeah. So I think the growth has continued as we kind of foresaw that, but you never know exactly what pace that's going to be on. And sure. I think that varies from even day to day and week to week, what the market dictates, I think that we've seen a lot of cooling of the housing market recently because of interest rates. So, we just kind of take it as it comes, but then try to maintain that long-term perspective of, let's try and guide this into a place where we think it should be in the long term, but we don't control the market day to day.
That's right. It's going to be
unfortunately.
Yeah, it is a tough one, and again, not unique to North Logan. Logan City, Hiram City, Hyde Park, every city in the valley, Mendon, dealing with this same thing, and it's just going to be the way of things for a while. But the planning does help take some of the pain out of it a little bit. Were you excited to see on the ballot the open space bond initiative passed? And I thought of cities like North Logan as that passed, as I saw the results of the election. This is something that North Logan could really benefit from, right? Which will be up to individual landowners to take advantage of it or not. But if some do, that could be really key for North Logan's future.
Yeah, and one thing I appreciated about the open space bond issue is that it's taking a step, right? There's not going to be a perfect solution to preserving agricultural land, but we know we can't do that just by wishing it to be true. And so I don't know exactly how it's going to be executed, how those funds are going to be distributed. I know that there's some talk about it, but yeah, I think ultimately it could really benefit North Logan. I think that's something that's really on our citizens' minds. That we just have a lot of really great agricultural space in our city, and it'd be nice to keep that the same way indefinitely.
It would definitely keep with the character of the valley to preserve as much as we could, at least. Our guest here in the studio again, North Logan City Mayor Lindsay Peterson. If you have a comment or a question, 753-5868. We'll be back right after this.
This is Ryan at My Mattress. The Black Friday sale is in full swing. Sleep and saving money have got to be on the top of your list for this sale. The Black Friday sale is the biggest sale of the year. Save on the world's 2 best beds, $1,000 off on IntelliBed, and up to $500 on Tempur-Pedic. Truckloads of beds have arrived in stock, ready for you to sleep better tonight. Twin beds, guest beds, even a $600 Sealy Posturepedic. Isn't it time to sleep exceptionally? Up to 6 years, no interest financing. The Black Friday sale, the biggest sale of the year, only at My Mattress.
There is a gift that goes for everyone at Cash Honda Yamaha. Take home a side-by-side, an ATV, a motorcycle. Get in early for their very limited supply of youth Honda CRF dirt bikes, from the CRF 50 to the CRF 250. Save $500 to $900 on Yamaha e-bikes. The perfect gift that goes might just be a Honda snowblower or a Honda generator. Helmets, goggles, gloves, hats, box and fly riding gear, and casual wear are popular gifts. They really do have the gifts that go at Cash Honda Yamaha at the Light in Hyde Park.
If you're feeling dizzy or off balance, you're not alone. 35% of adults over 40 in the U.S. have a problem with their inner ear, and many conditions go undiagnosed and untreated. But there's hope. For more information, call 800-837-8428 or visit liferebalanced.org and discover a life rebalanced. That's 800-837-8428 or liferebalanced.org. Sponsored by the Vestibular Disorders Association.
I am one of over 40 million Americans with migraine. A migraine is not just a headache. A migraine attack can last for hours or even days, often with sensitivity to lights and sound or nausea and vomiting. Thankfully, there is help for migraine. Learn more at headachemigraine.org. Now is the perfect time to find out if what you have may be migraine. Visit headachemigraine.org. Sponsored by the Coalition for Headache and Migraine Patients.
Welcome back to KVN News for the People. Logan City School District's Chris Rasmussen joining us later on this hour to talk about everything and all things that they have coming up through the drama department, music clubs, and more, especially for the holidays. Right now, here in the studio with us, North Logan City Mayor Lindsay Peterson. And Mayor Peterson, appreciate taking the time again. And I feel bad. I hogged that first segment with all of my questions and a couple from listeners. But I know you've always got a couple of things you want to make sure that people hear about from North Logan City. And there's never a shortage of news to announce. I'm trying to remember what the event is, but we actually have the library director coming on in January. And I don't remember why.
There's a gala.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, well,
okay.
The library has always several things going on, but there is a gala on the 27th of January.
Okay.
A fundraising gala that they have the author of Edenbrook coming to that. It'll be, and I think it's more formal. It'll be really cool.
That's it. That's the event. I know we'd talked about it, and we're going to do this first part of January, but the library is impressive. The North Logan Library sets a bar, I think, for everyone else.
Yeah.
Is that hard to maintain?
Well, I would say yes, but it seems like every time I think, oh man, we're in a great space, just kind of put it on cruise control, it seems like they just have something else up their sleeve. So they have James Britch is great, and then he just has such a great staff who they're always thinking of things. In fact, sometimes I had that experience the other day where I was on Instagram and I saw a post from them about the things coming up, and I was like, what? This is fantastic. No one ran this past me, and thank goodness. Like, you guys don't need me at all. So their program director there is fantastic, Heidi Taylor, and so they just always have things up their sleeve, and they just do such a good job. So I don't know if it's hard for them to maintain, but they're doing it.
Yeah, it's honestly, it's gone on for years. And I'm not kidding. It sets a bar. I think that every other library, should shoot for. It was just really impressive to see. So I just had to give them a quick shout out.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, they're great, and I think people may, if this is the only place you've lived, our library is kind of belies how large our town is, our funding and just all that they do. So it's amazing. But yeah, you mentioned some of the things coming up. We do have some fun things. We have a Christmas light decoration contest that ends on the 14th. I currently have professionals installing mine, so I've disqualified myself. But I will also not be paralyzed at the end of the day.
That's
so
true.
They're
fall off the ladder.
Trade-offs, right? Silent Santa, they do where for kids with sensory issues, they do that on December 10th.
Oh wow!
They do New Year's at noon.
That's
obviously
creative.
New Year's Eve. So for the little kids that aren't going to stay up till midnight. There's the NFL Combine.
That's a very cool idea.
Yeah, rec department, same thing.
Noon instead of midnight.
Yeah, every time I think the rec department, again, hey, just go on cruise control, guys. They just
cool.
have.
As I get older, midnight gets harder. I might be there at noon.
I also
with
will
the
probably
kids.
see you there.
Happy New Year. Good night, everybody.
Right. I always aim high, but I don't know if I can do it without a nap. So those are the main events coming up, and we're really excited for them.
This is cool. Now, this one I won't be a part of, but I wish I was in shape enough to. But there's something also on the calendar here from the newsletter, the NFL Combine. This is an opportunity for North Logan residents and others, too, that want to attend to get out. And you can actually take part in actual NFL training drills.
Yeah.
That sounds difficult.
I know. I may come blow a whistle or something, but yeah, no, I think it's so cool. I think it's so creative, and at least we can watch the kids show us how we used to be able to run.
That is just a really cool idea of something to do. And again, for listeners, it highlights how much is going on in North Logan City, and you can see these events and everything on the city calendar or in the city newsletter, which you can download. There was also, let's see, is this still ongoing? There was
Well,
I lost this.
There's a few charitable things going on. Shop with a Cop.
That's the one.
Is happening on.
That's still ongoing. Okay.
Oh, I didn't write that one down, but that is happening, I believe, on the 10th. And we just have several. I know that the U City Council is doing a cereal food drive. So till December 6th. So we have a lot of charitable things going on. The food pantry, we always would love to lend our support to their food drive. That's kind of going strong right now, but they need donations year round. So there are a lot of ways to, I'm kind of plagiarizing my mayor's message for December, so sorry for the repeat, but there are a lot of ways to really help those in need out during this holiday season.
That's for listeners. I've linked to some of this from the city newsletter on our Facebook page if you'd like to see ways you can give and have that giving go further. This is a great time to do that. And when we spoke last time, we talked about a photo contest that was playing out. And that's been resolved now. There are winners, right?
Yes.
These were cool. I had a chance to see some of the photos that were submitted. And I just have to make note of this. There's some city pride there that really came through in these photos. But also, I thought I knew North Logan. There are some amazing parts of North Logan that I'd never, like beautiful scenery.
Oh, yeah.
And also some very cool nighttime photos of city lights from some of the hills there up on the bench. And this was, you had quite a few entries, right?
Yeah, we did. And the goal there was to get some pictures from the perspective of our residents specifically, and to do exactly what you described, which is to see North Logan through a different lens. You know, you have some of the common vistas that you see all the time, but the thing I loved about the winners of the contest especially is that they showed North Logan residents. I think 2 of the 3 had people in them, 2 of the 3 top winners. So, it was such a cool idea, and we did have a lot of entries, and it is just a really beautiful valley. I keep taking pictures just because I keep that in my mind, and it's funny, I have a lot of friends that live out of state, and I'll post pictures to Instagram or something and not even think about it, and they're like, oh man, you live in beautiful mountains. That's such a beautiful view. Or I'll take pictures of my kids playing soccer with, just this gorgeous backdrop. Sometimes you take it for granted. Sure. When you go, you see it every day, but it's so beautiful. And that's obviously not, we don't have the monopoly on beautiful in this valley, but we're really lucky to live where we live.
No, and that was, it was fun to see some of the scenic places in North Logan, and some of the history too that kind of popped through in some of these photos that were submitted. Just a very cool idea. Mayor Peterson, before we're out of time, anything else that you want to make sure people hear about?
I think we've covered the gamut. But yeah, I just encourage everyone to participate. I think all of those events aren't fun unless we have people come to them. So whether it's library events, or whether it's rec events, or whether it's city sponsored, we really just appreciate the participation from our citizens.
Sure.
I'm sorry to say it, we just have the best citizens. And so, and we invite everyone to be honorary citizens as well.
Sure.
So I just encourage everyone's participation. We love when North Logan becomes the gathering place for the Valley.
And please, for me here at the show, for all of us here at KVNU, a few of you listening now, please go out to this NFL Combine event in North Logan for over the holidays. On the city calendar here, and do some of these actual NFL football drills, and then call us and tell us how it went and what hurts. I would love to see that. Just a really cool event. I love this. Mayor Peterson, appreciate you taking some time for us, and we'll speak again next month.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming down, and for listeners, stay tuned. Chris Rasmussen of Logan City High School and School District joining us. We'll run through everything they have coming up through the drama department, music clubs, and more for the holidays right after these headlines with KVNU's Bill Walter.
Thank you, Jason. KVNU News Time is 4:34, and the news is brought to you by U&I Furniture. A 50-year-old River Heights man was arrested after Utah Highway Patrol troopers said he was stopped while going 121 miles per hour through Sardine Canyon, US 8991. Law enforcement said they stopped Michael Timothy Cook in Wellsville early Saturday morning and could smell alcohol from the vehicle. A DUI investigation began, and troopers said they discovered the driver was 4 times the legal blood alcohol level limit of 0.05. According to jail records, Cook was booked into the Cache County Jail on suspicion of driving under the influence and reckless speeding. He was later released after posting bail. Court records show Cook has been cited twice this year for speeding, each time traveling around 10 miles per hour over the speed limit. The Highway Patrol said that as we head into the holiday season of celebrations, please arrange for sober rides. Driving while impaired impacts more than just you, and slow down. ICE will soon be on the road, and we want everyone to get home safe. Police in Utah County are searching for a suspect who allegedly fled after a shooting that injured 2 people at an off-campus student apartment complex. They said officers responded to the complex at around 1:15 Saturday morning after a report that 2 people had been shot. Both victims were reported to make a full recovery. The apartment complex is for off-campus student living and is walking distance to Utah Valley University. The suspect allegedly fled the scene, and police on Saturday were working to identify them. They believe the shooting was an isolated incident. Police did not specify if anyone involved in the shooting was a student. Calvin Tyler Jr. had 125 yards rushing and 3 touchdowns, including a 3-yard touchdown that capped the scoring with 2:49 to play. Brian Cobbs had 10 receptions for 122 yards, and Utah State beat San Jose State for senior night Saturday night at Utah State. KBNU News Time is 4:36.
You'll love the holiday specials and big selection when you shop at U&I Furniture. Got guests coming? How about their best-selling mattress, a Therapeutic Serene featuring a zone coil system, comfy stretch knit top, only $399 for the queen size. For Christmas, a TV? How about 50 different console choices from small to large with or without fireplaces? And over 200 chairs on display, including the best in recliners. They offer free layaway and prices you'll love. A local standard when it comes to furniture. There's always a better buy at U&I Furniture. U&I downtown Logan.
KBNU weather, mostly clear, hazy tonight, low 15 to 20, sunny, hazy around 40 tomorrow. Slight chance of snow Wednesday morning. High temperature again around 40 degrees. We've been to 41. It's 37 right now at KBNU. KBNU weather brought to you by Adams Wealth Advisors. They put clients first under any circumstance. You'll receive peace of mind with Adams Wealth Advisors. Schedule a time with an advisor today. Call 752-1702 or visit adamswealthadvisors.com. For more details on these and other stories, visit cashvalleydaily.com. Let's check Wall Street now with Edward Jones.
This is Ted Karen with Edward Jones Investments in Smithfield, bringing you the daily financial market report for Monday, November 21st. Stocks finished lower to start the week, with China growth concerns in focus following a rise in new COVID-19 cases. This showed up in the crude oil market, with prices down again after falling nearly 10% last week amid a declining demand outlook. The Dow received some help from a jump in Disney shares, but more broadly, defensive stocks like utilities and staples were among the leaders on Monday, while cyclical areas such as energy, materials, and consumer discretionary lagged. Looking at the stock market indexes for Monday, the Dow was down 45 points at 33,700. The S&P was down 15 points at 3,950. And the NASDAQ was down 122 to close at 11,025. Treasury yields were little changed on Monday, with the 10-year rate holding just above 3.8%. Several Fed governors have made comments in recent days that reflect a broad range of views around the policy approach ahead. Commentary last week suggested the Fed could pursue a terminal policy rate in the 5 to 7% range to ensure inflation pressures are extinguished, while over the weekend, Atlanta Fed President Bostic noted that it may be time to reduce the size of upcoming rate hikes. We think the Fed is likely to continue raising rates over the next several months, with the policy rate likely to top out around the 5% level. Incoming inflation readings will be the primary catalyst for market expectations to continue calibrating around the Fed's upcoming actions. We think the Fed will look to pause in the first half of next year, holding rates steady for a while as inflation and economic conditions are evaluated. This has been today's Financial Market Report brought to you by Ted Karen and Edward Jones, member SIPC, serving individual investors with personalized attention and financial advice. If you'd like additional information, please visit with any of the 9 Edward Jones advisors in Cache Valley, in Providence, Logan, and Smithfield.
Clean it up and get it out before the snow flies. Don't wait another winter. Let DD Auto and Salvage pay you for that junk vehicle. DD Auto and Salvage makes it so easy and fast to get rid of your junker vehicles by paying you the most money possible. Pickup is available. If you have metal, DD Auto and Salvage in Logan wants to pay you today. Call 787-1204. That's 787-1204 today. See store for details.
With so much financial uncertainty, are you wondering if your retirement savings will last? The market's ups and downs can keep you guessing, especially if you're approaching retirement or considering it. Your Edward Jones financial advisor can help. If you have more questions than answers about what's next, they can work with you to help ensure you're prepared for the future. After all, retirement isn't the end of the road, it's a new beginning. Call one of the 7 branch locations in Cache Valley or go to edwardjones.com. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Tuesday edition, Clay Travis, Buck Sexton Show. We're thankful for you guys counting down the days until Thanksgiving. We will bring you former Vice President Mike Pence. Got a new book out. Discuss all that with him. Plus, Buck.
And the latest on the showdown in Georgia between Herschel Walker and Raphael Warnock. A Senate seat still hangs in the balance. How is that looking? We'll talk to you about it on Clay and Buck.
10 to 1 on News Talk KVNU, 102 FM and 610 AM.
This is Police Chief Gary Jensen from Logan City Police Department. A number of scams are occurring throughout our city and county. These scams are highly emotional and demand immediacy that you pay, and you pay now. They will say they are from the IRS, the Sheriff's Office, the Police Department, utility companies, medical facilities, or even romance scams. Slow down and diffuse by asking questions. Be careful. Hang up the phone call is the best thing that you can do, and don't become a victim.
If you haven't got your trees trimmed yet, this is it. Winter is here. Not only does it prevent damage from heavy snow, but it promotes healthier trees in the spring. So call Hull Tree Care now to get your big overgrown trees trimmed. 760-6587. However, because most of us tend to procrastinate, Bobby and his team at Hull Tree Care are willing to trim trees all winter long, weather permitting. So write this number down in case you hear a big boom in the night. 760-6587. Hull Tree Care. That's Hull Tree Care.
Welcome back to KVNU's For the People. It is with pleasure I announce our next guest. Joining us here to talk, honestly, about a lot of things, all of them related to Logan High and the Logan School District, and things you can get out and entertain yourself with in various ways, courtesy of students in drama, students in music, and everything in between. Joining us here in the studio, we have Chris Rasmussen. And Chris, appreciate you taking some time for us today. You and I were just talking. We were trying to decide where to start, and it's kind of a hard decision. But maybe the first thing we should mention is what's first on the calendar. What should people mark on their calendars first, just chronologically?
Well, we opened with our musical, Big Fish, last Friday night. We have 2 more shows tonight and tomorrow night.
Sure.
And that would be the first thing.
And so 2 more opportunities to see that.
Yep.
And you really should see this because it's funny, it's romantic, and I've heard a little buzz from folks who have gone to see it. These are some talented students.
Very talented.
So was that a hard one to put together, production-wise?
Not really. I mean, like any other production, there wasn't anything particularly hard about this. Some of the special effects, because there is an element of kind of magic or whatever into it that
Sure.
we had to create that element. And so that took a little bit of creative thinking. But we've got a great staff. Jared is absolutely wonderful. Jared Rounds is our drama director, and he
very cool.
has done a good job.
This is, that's why I asked if it was hard, because I know there are some elements there that, again, you can get out and see this tonight and tomorrow night, and then it's done. But they're not done because, so right after that, well, no, you have a week, right?
Yeah, we do.
Of a break?
Yep. So
then...
a little bit more about Big Fish. And it's a story of a father and a son relationship. And it starts out with the getting ready for the wedding. And the dad's kind of really laid back, and the son's all crazy about, nervous about it. But all his life, the son has heard his dad tell stories which seem a little far-fetched. And he's like, who is my dad really? What am I? Because they're all stories about him. Daddy was in the Army, but he was a hero in the Army. Dad was this hero here. His dad did these crazy things here. He had a mermaid for a friend and all this kind of stuff. And
he thinks his dad's just making
nuts.
all this up, right?
And he gets a little angry with him, but the show and it jumps back and forth. It starts out with the old son. Will's his name. Edward's the name of the father. And immediately you go back to young Will when he hears the story, like maybe for the first time, and the excitement of the young Will, and then it goes back to the old Will, just like saying, I don't know what's going on, and then the wedding, and Dad, please don't embarrass me at the wedding. And of course, Dad does a great job of doing that, and it's just a delightful show, and the kids are super talented, so highly encourage that.
So if you can, tell us a little bit about the choice to present this one.
Utah State did about 2 or 3 years ago.
Okay.
And Jared saw that, and I'll be honest, I heard weird things about the Tim Burton movie.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm trying to envision that movie on the stage, but what happened was they took that story and totally romanticized it, and just the songs are absolutely beautiful. And I'm in the pit directing the orchestra, and I cry every night. So if you're coming, bring some tissues. You'll probably need them.
Now the music for this is complex too, right?
Yes.
That's that is one of the first things I learned about this production, was that it was beautiful to hear.
Mm-hmm.
As it was described to me.
And some non-typical things, meaning we have 2 guitars in there, 2 electric pianos, and a bass. So there's some rock and roll sections and a lot of swing. Cool. So if you like that style of music, come enjoy it. And their songs I can't get out of my head. One, Be the Hero of the Story, Fighting Dragons. My favorite tearjerker is Claire Francis singing. She's Sandra, the mother. And she's singing I Don't Need a Roof, which is expressing her love to her husband. You don't have to provide for that stuff to really, and
it's very cool.
And that rips me up every night, but it's a great show.
This is I'm excited at this production, and I love that you all have taken it on, because it's not. I have to say this so carefully, because it'll sound like I'm dissing others, which I'm not intending to do. But there are staples of high school productions sometimes that get rehashed maybe a little too often. This is not one of them.
This is the first time, I think, for anybody in the Valley, except for USU.
Cool. That's right.
So
you can get tickets at loganhigh.org. They're still on sale for tonight and tomorrow night at 7 p.m. And as I mentioned, this is just sort of the start of a long string. I'll be honest with you, Chris. It's hard for me not to jump right to your announced spring production, because it's one of my absolute favorites. If you have,
go ahead,
man. If you have never seen this on the stage, you have to. It's an amazingly simple story that will just knock your socks off. I've never disliked it when I've seen it. But you're doing Wait Until Dark in March.
Yes.
That's also a brave one to take on.
Right.
That is very cool.
And they're also doing a musical in the spring too, Chaperone, The Drowsy Chaperone. So we're tackling a lot at Logan High.
That is impressive. And this is also in between a million other events going on in between the big productions.
Oh, yes.
We'll talk about it all. If you'd like to join us, of course, phone lines are always open if you have a question or a comment for our guest, Chris Rasmussen, who teaches at Logan City School District, talking to us about everything they have going on, from the theater options, music options, even some fundraisers coming up and more. Stick with us. We'll be back right after this.
The Elements Restaurant is serving a plated Thanksgiving dinner this year with all the holiday classics. Herb roasted turkey with a sage turkey gravy, garlic whipped potatoes and whipped sweet potatoes, traditional cornbread stuffing, and delicious warm rolls. And for dessert, choose between pumpkin pie, pecan pie, or apple galette. Let the Elements serve your family a delicious Thanksgiving feast while you spend the day enjoying family and friends. Prime times fill up quickly. Reserve online today at theelementsrestaurant.com or call 750-5171.
Hey golfers, Black Friday at Birch Creek is going on now. Punch passes, $150. All remaining golf shoes and clothing, half off. Golf hats, $15. A limited number of $150 punch passes will be sold. The entire pro shop is on sale. So for your golfer, I invite you to choose Birch Creek's Black Friday sale going on now. That's Birch Creek Golf Course in Smithfield.
What makes essential workers essential?
We keep where you work and live clean and safe.
We harvest fresh produce for your families to eat.
We help you heal when you're sick. Essential workers help our nation run. You're in every corner of our country and come from all over the globe. I'm Marty Walsh. The Wage and Hour Division at the Department of Labor helps ensure you receive the essential protections you deserve. Visit our website or call 866-4US-WAGE.
Brought to you by the United States Department of Labor.
He won't come. He's too busy.
Jenny, of course he'll come.
Happy birthday!
Dad!
I know. You guys didn't think I'd make it, but come on. Could I really miss my son's birthday? Here you go, Dan.
Thanks, Dad. But today's Jenny's birthday.
Give me that. Happy birthday, Jenny!
Need to get closer to your family?
Nice football, Dad.
Give your family everything. Give them your time. From the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
Welcome back to KVN News for the People. Kind of a fun little conversation that Chris and I were just having. I asked if, when they're making the choice for the production, if they sit down with him and say, because he's going to have to make it sound good. And so if they sit down and say, what about this, what about that? And Chris, you said, no, they make the choice and then they come to you and say, hey, figure this out.
Is it possible?
Is it possible to do? What's the hardest one so far that you've done?
I think the most intriguing one for me was Mitzi Meekum used to be our drama teacher, and she picked the Titanic.
Yeah, I remember that.
That one was like, first of all, nobody knew it, and but it was really challenging musically, and it really pushed the my string players, especially. This year's is really pushing some of my players, and I wouldn't say this is the most, but this one's got some pretty crazy stuff in it. So we're getting better every day.
That is. Yeah. And students have, I don't think people appreciate this, but students have a very short period of time to get up to speed on these productions,
yes.
Right?
The company we rent the music, and they give you a certain amount of time. If you want a longer time, you pay more royalties or something like that. So they get the instrumental music. We get about the 1st of October, sometimes the 15th of October, to put a show on it on the 15th of November.
Wow.
Now, the actual cast, they start at the beginning in August. But that's still, I'm not, there is so much going on, and they are working hard. Those kids have worked their tails off to make this show happen. And there are some big moments. Melody Francis, our choir teacher, has just really taught these guys how to sing big. And they'll spread out on the ramps of the auditorium, all 70, 80 of them, and sing full chorus, four-part music. And Jared Rounds, Jared Rounds is the drama teacher, and he's really teaching these kids how to act their part instead of be a high school student trying to be an adult or something like that. So they're doing good. And then thank you to Rachel Wheeler for her help in the string section too. So
that is just impressive. That's as you go through this with the students, you get to watch them evolve, and
definitely. So
have you seen them? As a student takes on a production like this, suddenly you see them just blossom.
Oh, definitely. For example, Melody was working with a girl in my band room who was just really struggling with this solo she has to sing. And she just didn't feel confident about belting some of this stuff out. I can imagine the pressure.
A solo,
Yeah, and this was 2 or 3 weeks ago. But if you come and watch it, it's Sarah. She plays the part of a witch, and boy, she nails it. And I'm not saying that nobody else does, but that's just one example where I saw this student who was just really insecure and just blossomed. So.
And that's not a figurative spotlight. That's literally in the spotlight.
Yep.
The pressure of that would be, and even to get it, you're going to be sitting there. This production's going to have a big audience, and everything has to be perfect. I just feel like as adults we don't appreciate that these are kids who do this, and they do it professionally. And then when you go see the production, it's almost taken for granted. So it's fun to be able to spotlight a little bit of this. And then do you get? I assume you sometimes follow their careers as they leave high school.
Oh, definitely.
And head off to.
And we've sent quite a few of them. There's one that's actually teaching up at Utah. Well, even there's 2 up at Utah State teaching.
Oh, wow.
Drama, and
that's very
there's
cool.
one that's actually on Broadway right now doing her thing, and there's more than just I'm just 3 examples right now that I can think of that it's just been, and it's been many years. For example, Dennis Hassan's up at Utah State, but he's a Logan High graduate. So
I forgot about that. Yeah, Logan High graduate and kind of a little bit famous himself.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any horror stories? Things that have just gone horribly wrong?
Well, I'm not sure it's appropriate to say, but
no names.
No names. Sadly enough, there was a show one time when night before we opened, our teacher, and this was decades ago, but she went up into the sound booth and found some of the students doing something they shouldn't have that got them expelled immediately, and so we had to put on the show the following day, missing the whole sound crew.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and that was a challenge.
How did that go?
We grabbed some kids that we knew could do it, and we yelled it and talked them through it, and it went well.
That's
and we did have another time when a student had a problem and couldn't do the opening night, so she had to call on one of her former students, and he came in with book in hand that night and put the show on. He'd run on stage, memorize the line, run off stage, memorize the line. And he put on the whole show. So we've had some real horror stories.
That is, but again, when you're thinking these are young children, these are teenagers. Mm-hmm. Most of us as adults would buckle under that kind of pressure.
Oh, no kid.
That is, man.
My favorite personal experience was when I was in high school and did it. They, the director on the day of the show decided to cut a dance out of the song. So we just paper clipped all the music together so that we could only have to turn one page. Well, unbeknownst to us, that night we're sitting there playing along, and all of a sudden it just didn't sound right. And what had happened is right in the middle of that, we were supposed to put down our saxophones and pick up our clarinets.
Oh, no.
Which is a totally different animal, and that was it took us a while to figure that one out. So, yeah, we've had some fun horror stories.
Chris, I appreciate you taking some time for us to take us behind the scenes of all this. And for listeners, please get out, and support these kids and everyone involved in making this happen. Big Fish plays twice more, tonight and tomorrow night at Logan High School. You can get tickets at loganhigh.org. You can also see the full calendar, what they have coming up, and more. Chris Rasmussen of Logan High and the Logan District, our guest this hour. And Chris, again, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
To our listeners, thank you for your time. Please stay tuned. We'll be back with more of For the People in Hour 2 right after this here on KVNU Logan.